Welcome back to the Connect Network TV on the CW. So, as usual, we are talking about making bank for you and your business. And joining us right now is entrepreneur, coach, podcaster, author, and manifestation queen, Mikayla Jai. She is here to help us step into our rich girl era. Welcome to the show, Mikayla.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to sprinkle in some manifestation magic today.
Hi, Mikayla.
That sounds amazing. Well, congratulations on the success of your podcast and coaching agency. So let's start from the beginning. How did you go from being college dropout to owning a 7-figure brand? And what prompted your transition into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, absolutely. And what a journey, I actually started my business while I was in college. I was on track to double major in fashion communication and French language. I had this whole plan that I was going to get a PhD in fashion social media, move to Paris, do the whole thing. So I actually studied abroad in France, which is where I had a huge spiritual awakening. And when I came back home, I brought back everything I had learned just from changing my own mindset and really starting to tap into my intuition, and spent so much time fostering that part of my life that I got to this point where I just felt like I have to teach other women what I have learned, because it had changed my life so much. It almost felt selfish to keep it to myself. So I then launched my podcast and put together my first coaching program where I taught every single ritual, journal prompt, meditation that I had used to change my journey, put it in one program and put it on the internet, not really realizing I was launching a business, but then launched the business. And it grew very quickly, very fast. And then I ended up dropping out of college to run that full time, which has just been absolutely amazing.
I love it. What advice can you give those thinking of starting their own podcast?
Oh, I think that it's important to be yourself. I think when we get on a podcast, when we get on a platform, we think that we either need to be super professional, or you need to be really put together, or you need to write a full script. It's just like when you're starting your podcast, don't be afraid to just speak your mind and be yourself. The right community is always going to find you, and that's how you attract the coolest communities. And so I think it's really important, one, for women to not be afraid to be yourself when you're podcasting, but two, when no one's listening at the beginning, don't let that stop you. When I started my podcast, I would get 30 downloads a month, 5 downloads an episode basically. And I remember texting all of my friends, telling them new episode out, listen if you can. And they would leave me on red, which is okay. It wasn't for them, and I was just so set on continuing to push through and push this message out. So don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't be afraid to keep going when the numbers aren't there yet.
Yes, it's all about the consistency. I love this so much. And I want to switch gears for a moment and talk about your coaching. So Can you share with us what products and services do you offer at your agency?
Yeah, absolutely. So I offer a big variety of different mentorship packages. I do one-on-one mentorship with women who maybe are a little bit more private, but want to work on some really heavy mindset pieces, relationship advice, stuff like that. I also offer group coaching programs, and that's one of my favorite things to do, because if you don't have spiritual women around you, you can come into one of my group programs and meet some of your best friends who you can then text every single day in our group chat. I also host international retreats if you want to meet these women in real life, things like my podcasting event, which are super cool. And everything I offer is such a variety. If you're a newbie into the spiritual world, I've got you, I'll hold your hand. If you feel confident and positive, but you want to learn manifesting, I got you. If you have success and you feel like you're hitting that glass ceiling, I can take you to that next level. So it's really just this full showcase of where your spirituality can take you and where mindset can really up-level your life.
Nice. Amen. I want to ask you this. Let's talk about your amazing team, because that is, you can say, if you would agree, one of the most essential parts of entrepreneurship and how that can grow. So can you share a little bit more about your team and how you've been able to grow with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had one assistant for a very long time who I feel like was one of the pillars to really grow my brand, but also my business. Because when I didn't want to do certain things that I knew would grow the business, he got to do that. And he was even better at doing those things than I were. And I think when we're thinking about scaling our business, it's what are you not very good at and what do you not want to do, and hire somebody who is so much better at that. And so I just think it's so important when you can find people around you who are smarter than you to do the things that you don't want to do.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you promote luxury and travel in your company. And I want to ask you, why is travel so important to you?
Oh, travel is what started my spiritual awakening. So I feel like that's always going to be something at the heart for me. But why that is because when we're traveling, you're out of your comfort zone. You're in a new environment. You are more aware of the directions you're going, what restaurant you're eating at. And I think when we are in our day-to-day lives, it's so easy to be the same version of yourself and do the same routine. But when you're traveling, you can be somebody completely different. And that's what really transformed me and started my spiritual awakening. I remember growing up, I was always very negative and in this victimhood mindset. And so when I went on my study abroad trip, I told myself, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to be negative. I'm not going to gossip. I'm just going to be friendly and light up every room I walk into. And that's exactly what ended up happening, because I went somewhere where nobody knew me. And it's always easier to do that away, but you're probably thinking like, well, what do I do when I'm at home? You can take yourself out on a solo date and be that woman who lights up every room she walks into. You can be extra friendly to your barista and take that home with you. I feel like travel is such a great way to facilitate that, but really it teaches you to be really present and be this next level version of you want to be.
Mikayla, before you go, can you give us 3 ways that we can start to shift our mind into the money mindset right now?
Oh, absolutely. I think when you shift your mindset around money, you start to manifest money so much faster. So the first thing I always tell women is, how do you think money is coming to you? Do you only see it coming in as a paycheck? Do you only see it as coming in through maybe your partner who provides? You can actually open yourself up to money coming in so many other ways, and it's going to start to find you. Every time you see a penny on the ground, pick it up, because that's more abundance. You could have checks coming in the mail. So really checking and seeing, where am I setting limitations on money right now of it coming in one way? Because we can't even fathom how many ways that money can actually find us. I think that's so important. Number 2, are you being the clingy girlfriend? I like calling it the clingy girlfriend because I think of money as a relationship. Money wants to be desired. It wants to have fun. It wants to go on trips and buy pretty things. And it wants to take your girlfriends out to brunch. If you're being that clingy girlfriend of like, oh, I need, that repels the vibration of money away. So are you being the clingy girlfriend? And if you feel like you are right now, spend more time getting inspired. Maybe you can't go out right now and buy all of those fun things, but you can get on Pinterest, but you can get inspired on TikTok. You can save different boards for visualization, get into that energy. And then the last thing I would say is just remembering that money is that feminine energy. And so if you can feel more feminine, you feel more in your flow, you're going to start to attract that flow of money right back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much again, Mikayla. And coming up next, Connect Fam, don't you move, because the oh so lovely Miss London Knighton is going to be joining us for some entertainment news. You know she got all the tea, and she's probably going to bring her teacup with her too. So grab yours or your cup of water, whatever you drink in the morning. We'll be back. Don't.